Hello and welcome to No Nonsense Polity Lectures. So let us start with our very first lecture on Indian polity, that is on Constitution. What exactly is a constitution and why do countries need a constitution? That would be our topic of discussion today. It is a very short topic and the importance for it for the UPSC exams is it forms your basic understanding, the foundation of why do we need to study polity. And the main thing in the Indian polity subject is the constitution. So what is its uses and why do we need a constitution would be discussed in this topic. So let us start. First of all, let us start with the basic definition of a constitution. It is really simple. The definition of a constitution is that a constitution is a set of laws which a country or an organization follows. So that forms a very basic and a very simple definition of a constitution. It is a set of laws, means these laws are written by the same country or the same organization for its proper functioning. So, with this definition, we also got our first use of the constitution, that is, it forms the fundamental law of the land. The written constitution forms the fundamental law of the land. It guides the government for various regulations, for various rules, the various procedures which needs to be followed. It gives the powers, it prescribes the powers of a particular government, the regulations on that power so that the government cannot misuse it. It also provides for the rights of the citizens of that particular country, also the duties which the citizens need to abide by for a particular country, and the organizational structure of a particular country. This all is provided by the constitution in the form of fundamental law of the land. The second and one of the most important uses of the constitution is it prescribes a particular form of government which a particular country will follow. So basically, in the world, there are around 200 countries and more than 150 countries have a particular constitution of their own. So the countries which have a particular constitution, they generally follow these three basic types of government which are based on the principle of democracy. So what is exactly the principle of democracy? We all are aware that democracy is nothing but all the citizens, all the people of the particular country elect their representatives which govern them on their behalf and govern the country. So that is the basic definition of democracy. And the countries which have a particular constitution generally follow this principle of democracy. So on the basis of this principle of democracy, there are generally three forms of government which are followed worldwide. First form of government is monarchy. So we will discuss monarchy with a classic example of the United Kingdom, which is the oldest functional monarchy in the world. Constitutional monarchy, be aware of that. It is not an absolute monarchy, it is a constitutional monarchy. We will discuss that. The second form of government is the presidential form of government, and the United States of America is a classic example of the presidential form of government. And the third form of government which India follows is the parliamentary form of government. And India is a very good example of how a parliamentary form of government can function efficiently. This also to a certain extent is derived from the United Kingdom model, but there are certain differences which we will discuss in subsequent lectures. So first, monarchy. Monarchy form of government is the oldest form of government in the world. Everybody will know that monarchy means that there a king or a queen acts as the head of state. So all the functions of the government are taken in the name of a king or a queen, and the government acts on the behalf of the king or queen. The basic, so you all will ask that then what is the difference between a president and a king or a queen in the modern world? The only and the basic difference is the king or the queen. The position of king or the queen as the head of state is hereditary in a monarchical form of government. Means after a king or queen, his or her son or daughter will act as the king or the queen and will act as the head of state. Whereas for a president, a new president has to be elected after every fixed time span. So that is the monarchical form of government which is followed in the United Kingdom, in which we will revise, in which The king or the queen, like for example, Queen Elizabeth II acts as the head of state, and all the form of government, the prime minister and all the ministers are liable to her, and they act on behalf of her. So in the olden world, the monarch or the king or the queen had absolute powers of the government, like they made laws, they also enforce the laws, and they also act as courts. But in the modern form of monarchy, the head of the state or the king or the queen is just the de jure. De jure, head of state. So what does de jure mean? De jure is a Latin term. De jure means that he is just a nominal head of state. Means he does not exercise any power on his or her own will, but he or she has to act on the aid and advice of the government, which is elected and headed by the prime minister. So this forms the de jure head, and the king or queen just is a de jure head or a nominal head of the government. Second form of government is the presidential form of government, which is followed in the United States of America. And in this, the people directly elect the president by voting in large numbers, and the president acts as the head of state, but here he is the de facto head of state. What does de facto means? De facto is exactly opposite to the de jure. In de facto, the head of state is a functional head of state, means he exercises real authority and he has the power to enforce all the laws which are made by a particular parliament or senate or congress in the case of the United States of America. We will deal with it further, but for this lecture, the only thing that you guys need to understand is what does a constitution provide and what are the things which are derived from the constitution and why does a country need constitution. The third form of government, which is very common in the world, is the parliamentary form of government, as is followed in India, UK, Canada, many other countries. In this, the parliament or all the members of the parliament are elected by the people, and out of these elected members, there are the majority of the elected members who have acquired most votes form a government, and in this, the de facto head is the prime minister. The prime minister will be the head of the government and he will govern the country with his aid and advice of his ministers. So these are the three basic forms of government which are provided in most of the constitutions of the world. And the third and one of the most important functions of the constitution is it provides the aspirations of the people or the citizens. When a constitution is created by a country, it reflects the ideologies, the fundamental thinking and the fundamental need of the people. Like for example, in the Indian constitution, we have provided with elaborate rights to the people. We also have duties. We also have certain directives which are based on various historical personalities and various other inspirational people of the Indian freedom struggle. So basically, the definition of this point is that the constitution provides for the thinking or the soul of the thinking of the people. What the people exactly want, how do they wish to be governed, and how do they see their country in the upcoming times. So these are the three forms or the 3 points which are provided by the constitution, which are very essential, which are the basic thing for a country to function. So after we have discussed that what does and why do we need a constitution, what is a constitution, we will discuss there are 2 types of constitution which is commonly found in the world. First one is the written form of constitution and second one is the unwritten form of constitution. Mind you guys, unwritten form of constitution doesn't mean that it is not written on a particular book or it is not written somewhere. Unwritten constitution means that the constitution is not codified. The United Kingdom again follows the unwritten form of government, unwritten form of constitution. In unwritten form of constitution, it means that it is not codified. Means that for example in the Indian constitution, all of you would be aware that we have particular articles like Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. The entire constitution is particularly codified in various sections, in various chapters, in various articles. So that is known as the written constitution, with a proper flow and a proper codes and proper articles for a particular function and particular thing of a constitution. Whereas in unwritten constitution, the constitution is not codified, it is very vast and it is derived from the regular laws which are passed by the parliament. There is no particular code or particular chapter that if you want to find this from the constitution you need to visit this chapter. It is just vague, like it flows like an ocean and the entire ocean is considered to be in constitution. So this is followed in the United Kingdom and to a certain extent in Australia. So these are the two types of constitution which are followed. Written constitution we have discussed all, that is, it is codified. So this was the basic lecture on why do we need a constitution, what is a constitution. So in the next lecture we will discuss the theory of separation of powers and we will deal and we will dive more into depth of the Indian constitution and Indian polity. Thank you for watching.